I have a flat tire. Well, at least I've got one on my floats. So follow along as I figure out that I've had more than just a flat tire problem with the plane. Thanks for watching.
Oh, hey guys. Thanks for coming by and visiting. Well, what am I doing? I'm removing the wheels on my floats. Let me explain. Okay, well, let's see. The tire keeps going flat, so I got to remove it. Now I got to take this tire, I got to pump it up, and I need to put it in some soapy water and see if it leaks. Now, I'm going to do that at home, and then I'm going to come back here after I've done that and fix the tire if it needs patching or whatever needs to be done with it, and I'll let you know what else is going on. So thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Make sure that you like and subscribe down there, and comment. At the end of this, I'll have some questions, that kind of stuff, of what I'm going to be doing next with these floats. So stay tuned. Again, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this episode. I'll be right back.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, I'm back. Well, I pumped the tire up to its recommended pressure, washed the tire, filled the kitchen sink with soapy water, not too much soap, but filled it up so I can immerse the entire tire in there, because it's pretty small, fits in my kitchen sink. And no bubbles anywhere. It held air. Okay, so I let it sit for a couple of nights, and it still held air. So I'm thinking that it just wasn't filled properly. When I went to pick up the airplane from the hangar in the other airport, the tire was flat. He hooked up, the fellow hooked up a little air compressor and pumped it up a ways, and then we rolled it out of there, and that was it. I'm thinking it was sitting in there in a hangar for at least 6 years. I'm thinking it slowly leaked down, you know, because it is aluminum rims, and I'm thinking it slowly leaked down, and and it wasn't pumped up very full to begin with. So it looks like the tire's fine. So there's another problem. Watch. Okay, I'll show you. So bearings. When I stick my finger in here and roll the bearings, crunchy, very crunchy. Inner and outer. You can even hear that. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll find out in editing. Let me lift you up a bit. There we go. So it's kind of a good thing that the tire was flat, that I had to pull it off and check it, because, boy, those bearings are destroyed. I'm going to assume that the other side is also bad. So I'm going to pull both wheels off the floats, and I'm going to pull the front wheels off. I'm going to check all the bearings. The bearings are readily available. They're not an oddball size. It's easy enough to pop them out and pop a new set in. They're just sealed bearings. So yeah, I got to change the bearings on here. But I'm debating. I'm going through a struggle right now. What do I do with my brakes? Because this has the old drum brakes, cable actuated drum brakes. And everybody now uses the disc brakes that are hydraulically actuated. I contacted Puddle Jumper, gave them the serial number of the floats. They said, oh, yes, it was sold to this guy, and it was at this date, and there is an upgrade kit, and it's about $1,000. Okay. And I got that information several months back. and because I was all keen on doing it. But then I started talking to, reaching out to a few people with these Challengers on floats. And I asked them, you know, the hydraulic brakes. They said, oh yeah, it's a great improvement, smooth braking. He says, but says, understand, on the water you got no brakes. Okay, so you'll never be using them there. All right, fine. So, and I'm landing on a grass strip 99% of the time because my home airport here is a grass strip. And they said, unless you're coming in at full throttle and you got to stop all of a sudden, most of these guys said we rarely use braking when landing. Only when we finally taxi up somewhere do we hit the brakes and stop the aircraft and then shut down. And I thought, oh, and of course when they do the run-up and you know, do the engine checks and so on, that they'll apply brakes to hold the aircraft in place so that, you know, you can do your run-ups. And I'm thinking to myself, for $1,000, these cable-actuated drum brakes will work. Do I need to spend $1,000 on brakes, or just make these work properly? Leave a comment if you're watching this and you've been following along, or if you just tuned in. Leave a comment. Give me your opinion. Do you have a Challenger 2 on puddle jumper amphibious floats? And have you had the cable style brakes and switched to the hydraulic disc brakes? And did you notice a great improvement in performance, or was it more of a convenience? Because I'm at the point now that, you know, do I need to spend $1,000 for a nice to have thing? There are other things I could spend the money on this aircraft, and so yeah, I'm debating. Are the brakes that critical? Also, if I don't change them now, in 2 years' time, if I say, yeah, you know, I'm just going to upgrade the brakes now, I can do that. So I'm kind of leaning towards leaving them the same and leaving it alone. It ain't broke. It does need adjustments. Needs new bearings in the wheels. You see, the new brakes from Puddle Jumper also come with new wheels. So that's what I'm debating here. Do I change the bearings, or do I change the wheels with the new brakes? I'm leaning towards leaving it with the cabling and just getting a set of bearings for these wheels, and leave it at that, and then see what happens. But if there's some really compelling reasons why I should switch them to the hydraulics, let me know in the comments. I would greatly appreciate the sober second thought. Somebody else out there that says, hey, think of this. This is what it'll give you. Or no, don't bother, because yeah, it was nice to have, but you know, you can do without it. Either way, I'd appreciate the input. But I'm going to be doing a few other things with it as well. So this particular episode is going to be on my puddle jumper floats, and some of the modifications I would like to do to make things better, specifically with the way cables are routed. So follow me. Okay, as you can see, I'm going to try to hold this as steady as I can. I'm standing behind the camera. As you can see, I've got the airplane lifted up on some homemade stands. I had some 4x4 posts and some plywood, and it might look precarious, but let me do something here. I'm pushing quite a bit, and I'm not a skinny guy. It's pretty solid. It ain't gonna fall down, and it's actually very easy to put in there. I tilted it backwards, put them down on the front, and then I had one other person with me. I went to the tail, and I lifted it up from the tail, and I slid the two in the back, dropped it down gently, done. So if you'd like the dimensions that I've done for this, just leave me a comment and I'll send it to you. But essentially it's just 4x4 posts. Actually, I think these were, dimensions, 24 inches long. I cut a V groove to hold the pipe in place. And then that's just a 12 by 12, a piece of plywood, and I screwed it from the bottom, and I use these 2.5 inch number 10 screws. I use 4 of them on the 4 corners, and they hold very hard. They're very better quality screws, not just they got like a very fat round head on them. So so yeah, that's it. There's no gussets or anything else. If I needed to put gussets on them, I would have, but I don't think it needs it at all, considering that this is sitting static and I'm not climbing in the aircraft. I'm working on the floats. Once I'm finished working on the floats and the cabling, that kind of stuff, I'm going to put it back down on its wheels, and yeah, so it's just holding it up so I can remove the tires and work on the retracting gear stuff, which is what I want to talk about. When I bought this airplane, actually, let me see if I can put this on the tripod. Pardon me for a moment.
A few moments later.
All right. Oh, hang on. Let me adjust this a little bit up and a little bit this way. So it looks at me. There we go. I can see you. You can see me. I'm good. Okay. So this cable here is used to lock and unlock the landing gear. Landing gear normally lifts up when you're on the water, and when it's up here, you would then lock it in place, and now it's locked up. Okay? You unlock it, and landing gear drops, relock it, locked in place. Landing gear is good. This cable, normally, in a lot of places I've seen, goes up here, right through this ugly hole. Maybe I'll bring you a little closer. Pardon me for a moment. Okay, this ugly hole here that was cut in here, this normally goes through and this lever goes up and down. I don't like that. I don't like that for 2 reasons. Let's lower this down a bit. Because in this position here, this is a trip hazard getting in and out of the aircraft. You could step on it, you could break it, rip it free if you slip on the water. The struts are right here, so you're in front of that, and it's just in the way. Now, another fellow who had a Challenger 2 on floats, what he did was actually brilliant. I thought about doing it, but I thought, okay, how would I go about doing it? And he showed through his video. He didn't actually specifically focus on it, but you catch what he did. He took this, ran it underneath here, and then put it beside the seat. Let me step in here. He built a box underneath this seat and then fastened this cable so that up here where your leg is, you're going to have the lever that goes forward and in and out to lock and unlock. Okay. Again, pardon me for the shaky camera. I need a cameraman. And considering that this only moves about 1.25 inches out and in to lock and unlock, you don't need a whole lot sticking out underneath there. When it's flushed back, it's locked in place. Plus, it's coming in from underneath. The wing strut is coming from here up to the wing, and this would be routed pretty well where that wing strut is, just behind it a few inches, up through the floor, fastened to that glove box underneath the seat. Bob's your uncle. I like that. I'm going to do that. So both of these cables will be relocated and rerouted that way. The second part that bugs me, let me lower this down just a little bit, pardon the shakiness. A little closer. This cable here is the raised lower cable for the landing gear. And this is the brake cable. I've got a passenger getting in and out, and they've got these trip hazards. Or if they slip, they rip these cables out. Not good. So these are also going to be rerouted. This is going to have to be fixed up. And these will be rerouted so that they follow along here into the aircraft underneath this landing leg. That's where it'll enter and then be rerouted through. The only cable that'll be here will be this one, which is tied to the landing gear itself. Okay, that's it. So these trip hazards and this trip hazard, I want to reroute and redo. So that's going to be my next focus to get this done. Considering that well, let me. Yes, I can sit on it. It is pretty sturdy in these legs. I really wanted to have this airplane fly by this fall. Not going to happen. A couple of things went into, conspired against it. A little slow in working on this thing. Work because of the thing that's happening everywhere. Which is also affecting my pilot's license, because remember, I bought this airplane before I had a pilot's license. So I'm kind of backwards. So I'm working on the pilot's license, but I haven't been in the air for quite a while with the lessons. I'm going to be going back into it, start that back up again. It's all deals with finances, money-wise. So, obviously this fall, it's not flying. It's October now. Actually, it's the end of October, 2021 as of filming this. It's the 30th. And I'm going to be publishing this on the 31st. So all those videos that you saw before were all filmed since July or June of last year till a few months back, about a month or 2 months back. I'm caught up. And now I'm filming today, and I'm going to publish this tomorrow. I got to do some editing tonight and make it look fancy, smancy, But yeah, that's what's going to be happening here. Is I got to get these cables redone. I got to get the bearings replaced, or go to hydraulic brakes. It really depends if somebody comes up with a really strong reason for me to do that. Don't be offended if I don't take your advice. Please don't. I take all the advice, and then I weigh all the options, and then I sit there and they're all good advice. Some of them I go, oh wow, I hadn't even thought of that, and that's a great idea, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. And other ones are like, yeah, that's a really good idea, but I think I'm going to wait a little while before I do it, or it's like, no, it doesn't really fit what my mission is for this airplane. So leave the advice if you've got, and I will read it. But that's what my next little bit of work here is going to be, get the cabling done on this, because it's that time. After I get the cabling and figure out if I'm going to go to hydraulic brakes or not, which I don't think I'm going to, and get that finished, then the next step is finishing up the little bits here and there of the wiring at the front here, get the nose cone mounted, and get the wings mounted. I think I really want to see that kind of progress more for myself. Even if I don't have the engine remounted, I can mount the engine with the wings on. So yeah. So follow along. I'm hoping to still keep up with weekly uploads, but because now we're right up to current time, it might be every second week before I get a lot of work done, or not. We'll have to see. I'm trying to do weekly videos, weekly updates, and hopefully the bunch of you guys who are watching and like what I'm doing appreciate that. I appreciate you watching it. I really posted this for family and friends to look at, but it looks like there's people from different parts of the country, down in the U.S. and even overseas, that are watching and taking notes. For me, well, when it comes to the electrical, yeah, okay, that's what I do for a living. But some of the other stuff, yeah, well, I'm kind of learning as I go as well. So if I make a mistake, I promise you, I'll show you. No hiding, no covering up. I ain't no expert, and if I make a boo-boo, I'll show you my boo-boo and show you why I made the boo-boo, or how, and how I fixed it. And I'm sure they're going to happen. and so you'll get to see my mistakes too. But yeah, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribed. I think as of right now, I'm up to 72 or 73 subscribers. Oh, what, me? And when I hit 100, I'll be amazed, you know. And the subscriber count. Wow, I have 70 people like what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, maybe one day it'll be 70,000 or 700,000. Nah. I'm still trying to keep this fun for myself, so I won't be focusing on that. That's it. That's the update for today. Got to pull the other wheel off, and then pull the front wheels off, check the bearings, and then from there I'm going to call it a day here at the hangar and go home and edit this video. So, like I mentioned earlier at the start of the video, hit that like button. Please hit the like button. And make a comment. Comments are great. Subscribe, make that subscribe count come up if you haven't already subscribed. And yeah, appreciate you guys coming along. It's fun. Even if though I'm not flying it, this work is fun. It's different than the daily grind. It's a diversion, and it's not expensive. Well, it can be if you really go crazy on it, like I did with the panel. Oops, but hey, the JRT EFIS, amazing, amazing thing. If you're looking for an ultralight and you think, glass panel, no, look at those. They have smaller units as well that don't have all the fancy stuff. And good guys. Talking to the guys at JRT, they're you really kind of strike up a friendship on the phone with the guys at JRT. Surprised at that. They're very personable. And you know, it's not all business. The conversations can go on with other things as well with them on the phone, just because they're real people there. So appreciate it, and if you're looking for something, send some business their way, and because they do good stuff. So that's it for today. Again, like, subscribe. God bless. Keep your stick on the ice. We'll see you again.
Yes, I'm all caught up from my old videos. Now we're running current date stuff. Glad you're watching. I'm wondering what your comments are going to be like. I look forward to reading them. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.